Hello and welcome to another 284 Media featured interview, or should I not say another, because this one will be different. We have big news coming from CCT BVI today. You may have noticed that earlier today, the company launched the BVI's first ever 5G service, and that comes along with other network expansions for the company. We have in the building CEO, Mr. Averad Penn, to discuss the details after this quick break.
We mash the gas, them bite the dust. We set the speed while they gathering rust. Inside we heart BVI come first. So please don't be fooled, cause they not like us. Once we mash the gas, them bite the dust. Cause we always fast and we always fuss. If you want real speed, you know who to trust. Somebody better tell them they're not like who? They're not like us. CCT fast, like CCT fast, like CCT just generosity, love the community bad, like CCT first with the 5G, cause BVI is we.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. As mentioned before the break, I have in the building the CEO of CCT BVI, Mr. Averad Penn. Mr. Penn, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having us.
Of course, and what an occasion for us to be a part of. CCT is continuing to lead the BVI, and of course, I think it's relevant to note that CCT is the BVI's only locally owned telecommunications company.
We're very proud of that.
So of course, that adds to the milestone. Now tell us about this network expansion. I think customers have been hearing about CCT building on the network for quite a while. So what's going on?
Well, this is really the culmination of years of investment for us. We've been working on the network behind the scenes, whether it's laying fiber, changing our operating system, changing our billing system, to really be able to try to move the company forward and have the latest and greatest technology within telecommunications. It's been quite of a challenge. It's been a significant investment over years, a lot of hard work. And we're not finished yet, but it's something that we always want to be on the cutting edge and moving forward. So we look at the world really simply. If they have it in the most developed countries in the world, we want to have it here as well.
All right. Now, of course, you said you're not finished yet, but I feel like this is a significant milestone to celebrate
Absolutely.
along the
Absolutely.
way. Now, CCT is expanding its 4G network, which it was already very fast for customers,
Yes.
but is now introducing 5G.
We're introducing the 5G service. So we've essentially created a whole new network. So the 4G network will be new and improved, but on top of that, we're going to be the first 5G carrier here within the BVI. We think that's really exciting. When you go to any of the big countries, you know, if you're in New York City or in London, you know that they have 5G service, and we haven't had that here in the BVI since its inception. There's actually been some debate on whether the BVI is big enough to support 5G, to support the investment, et cetera, et cetera. We really reject any of those kind of ideas. We believe that, you know, if it exists in the world, it should exist here in the BVI. And it's part of our commitment to this community to always be investing. We don't rest on our laurels. We try to reinvest in this company every single year so that we can continue to bring better and better technology.
So you mentioned that this has been in the works for several years. Why bring it to the public now?
Well, we're bringing it to the public now because we've gotten to a point where we've got critical mass in terms of how many sites we have ready for 5G. We're also obviously following the device manufacturers, and as that becomes more available for the public, it becomes more of a poignant time to really bring it to fruition. So particularly with Apple just having changed their operating system and just moved to iOS 26. And we've been working with Apple behind the scenes. We've been working with a couple of the other device manufacturers as well. But with iOS 26, you can use 5G on the CCT network. Mm-hmm. So we thought that this was the right time to really bring this to fruition. It's not something that we just started working on. We actually started working on this in 2018, if you can believe it. It's
That's
so,
right after
so
the
long.
hurricanes.
Yeah, right after the storms. When we started to rebuild after the storms, we didn't want to just rebuild the same thing. From that time, because that was about around the time when 5G just started to come on the scene in the US or in Europe and in Asia. Mm-hmm. And from the time we started to rebuild, we always built with that future mindset of this is the direction that we're going. So really the first steps to get us to here actually started after the storm.
Now, while we have an idea of the time investment that has already gone in. You know, there's the financial investment as well. What was that like?
It's been a struggle. I mean, there's really no incentives or concessions within the BVI to bring in equipment for telecommunications anymore. There used to be. So we really had to make this decision that this is something that we need to invest in. I do think we do need some of those things in the BVI, but that's above my pay grade. But we've invested already about $10 million in this network. We probably have at least another 10 million to invest, but it's something that we stand behind. You can't snap your fingers and do that all one time, but we continue to trot along and move along and increase this network kind of piece by piece. It really has to be a long-term view. It's not something that you can do all in one day.
Now, that's significant investment. I mean, half a decade, $10 million already. Where does that position us today, go live? What's the how extensive is the coverage of 5G currently?
Well, currently we have pretty good coverage in 5G. It's not like something where we just put it in Road Town or we just put it in East End or West End or Virgin Gorda. So we have 5G all around the country. What we don't have is we do need to have even more sites in 5G, because 5G is about capacity. It's not about coverage. It's not about you just being able to see the network. It's really about the amount of data that you're able to transmit, because 5G goes at about 10 times the speed of 4G.
Okay.
So we're going to need even more and more infrastructure for that. We also need to get additional spectrum. We're hoping that we can get additional spectrum from the government. We've already petitioned for that. I don't really know what the process is to do that or how quickly that will be, but we'll continue to try to get spectrum to create and really increase the service more and more. But for what we have now, it's based on what our footprint is and the spectrum that we have. And every month, every year, we'll continue to grow upon this. If you think back to people when we had the 3G service and we first got to LTE, that was a big thing then. And over the years, we've built on that and built on that and built on that to the point where the LTE service is now the main service. And now we're going to 5G, and I think there will come a time when the 5G is the main service as well. And that's the way in which we invest and the way in which we plan.
You mentioned the 4G service being the main service. I understand that a lot of investment also went into expanding the 4G network,
Absolutely.
the LTE. What was that like?
No, that was really important because it forms the basis of our entire network. So we've had to really upgrade that. It's really one of those things where there's really no part of the network that isn't touched when you try to go to the next generation of technology. You've got to change all kinds of things that you wouldn't even think of, because everything has to work in seamless. Like you're just adding something. Like we recently did a whole entire change of our entire billing system. Our customers will know that we now have an app where you can do self-care. So you can add data, you can change your plan and so on by yourself. Those things were all part of our 5G journey.
So for customers waking up this morning to this news that, oh gosh, CCT has brought 5G to the British Virgin Islands, how do I get onto the network? What do they need to do?
Well, it's actually really simple. I mean, it's available for everyone. The real determinant, though, is what handset you're using. So for our iPhone users, it's the simplest process. You just need to upgrade to iOS 26 and then, turn on 5G auto and you'll have access to the 5G network. You will see that your phone will probably toggle between LTE and 5G depending on where you are, what the coverage is of that, and also what you're doing. Because the phones are designed to, even if they're on 5G, toggle back to 4G just to conserve power. So there's a lot of things like that you'll see going on, but you will have that available and you'll notice that increased speed if you do a speed test or you're just surfing the web. It'll be much snappier. In some ways, 5G allows your phone to almost act like it's on Wi-Fi wherever you are. So that's a great thing. So they'll have that. For my non-Apple users, we are working with several other manufacturers, and we anticipate we'll be able to launch the 5G network on those shortly. But in the meantime, they'll also experience the much improved LTE service.
Speed is clearly a significant factor
Absolutely.
with this rollout, but beyond speed, what does 5G promise for the BVI?
Well, 5G promises, it's really three things. It's speed, It's lower latency, which is the snappiness of your network, how quickly it can react. And then there's much more reliability and ability to have more people on the network, without the reduction of, performance. So that's really kind of the long-term goal, is because you have to have a more and more robust wireless network, because in today's world, everything is connected. If you buy a fridge nowadays, it has internet.
Yeah.
If you buy your car has internet. Every single thing is somehow connected in this world. So this is what we really need to continue to drive this economy forward, as well as our company as well.
You have clearly spent a lot of time on the ground with your team who's been working on this, continuing to, provide that leadership that will allow CCT to reach this point. What does this milestone mean for you personally?
Oh, it's a really satisfying moment for us. I mean, this is something that we've labored behind the scenes for a long time. We definitely want to be the first ones to bring this to market. We think it's important. You'll hear the pride in my voice and probably in a lot of our staff's voice, because we took this on as a mission. We didn't want, whenever I heard people say that, we don't know if 5G is appropriate for the BVI. We don't know if the BVI is big enough. We don't know if the economies of scale work in the BVI. As a company, CCT, we reject all of those notions. We believe that, in order for the BVI to be the best it can be, it requires the best technology. And I think that's what our customers demand, that's what our community demands, and we're gonna do everything in our power to bring it to them.
What next?
Well, I actually don't really know what's next. I know right now we're very caught up with 5G and building that out. We're obviously spending a lot of money building out fiber as well to the community. We're just we live in the reality that everything is connected. I always tell people, there's no doubt in my mind, if we check the amount of data you use on your phone, you use more data this year than you did last year. And you'll use more data again next year. So we plan for that eventuality, and we just continue to grow and grow and grow. We don't look at it as there's a finish line. This is a race, and we're gonna keep running.
Of course, while you're running that race, this is a big day for CCT, so I'm going to let you return to your team now. Thank you so much for making the time to come chat with us.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us and let us talk a little bit about this great accomplishment for CCT. Thank you so much.
And viewers, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, visit cctbvi.com for more information, or visit the nearest CCT store near you. You can also download the CCT app, the My CCT app, on app stores available on your cell phones, or call 444-4444 to reach one of the company's kind customer service representatives. Stay tuned to 284 Media for more great content.